Huh. This is so peculiar.
Hey guys, I'm back. Sorry I was gone for so long. I went to look at the cool motorcycles, got lost, found myself in the kitchen, got lost again, found myself in the containment cells, got lost again, and now I'm here and I don't know how.
Darren! Man, 2 weeks you've been gone. You doing alright?
Yeah, I'm fine. How about you? You sound a bit down at the moment.
At the moment, more confused, but I have been going through it. I'll be fine, ultimately. I always need to be fine. I always survive.
What's got you confused, if I may ask? Sure, I could ask about that survive line there, but I'll be honest, I don't think I'd understand the answer if I did ask.
It's genuinely a reasonable response, but I'm doing some research on a loyalist chapter of Space Marines. They have 15 different books and magazines where they show up, including a whole series of novels just about them, and yet there is so very little information about them other than theories. I'm actually rather interested in these guys. Of course, their name is sort of shrouded too. There have been 3 possible names for this chapter, and it's very possible they are not the same chapter of Space Marines, but 3 different ones. The icons have also changed a few times. Who am I talking about? The Space Sharks, also called the Carcharodons, also called the Carcharodon Astra, and various other names too, which may or may not be the same chapter or different chapters. We really don't know. I'll be calling these guys the Space Sharks for this video in order to make it consistent and simple, because I'm pretty sure I'll start stuttering if I say the High Gothic names. Speaking of High Gothic, that, like most Space Marines, speak High Gothic, but these guys speak a dialect that's really old and ancient, almost inunderstandable to anyone in the Imperium of Mankind. Their history is a bit spotty, come to think of it. They seem to have existed in the late 32nd millennia during the Astropath War, which is only brought up in 2 books in the setting, the 5th edition rulebook and the Imperial Armor Volume 10, The Badab War Part 2. The last one was a mouthful, and it actually comes up a few times, and is where the Space Sharks are mentioned. Their first appearance in books, I think, was directly involving the Badab War, but that's a writer timeline, not a world timeline, so it doesn't matter. We'll talk about the in-world lore for them, not the real lore for their writing. So this chapter seems to worship some ancient deities called the Forgotten One, which may be a dude, maybe a god, and this is linked directly with something called the Void Father, which seems to be the daddy of the Forgotten One. Records by the Space Sharks say that they were once a part of the Imperium, but they were exiled from their homeworld and forced to the edge of the galaxy in order to essentially protect the galaxy from intergalactic invaders. Some believe the Space Sharks are Raven Guard successor chapters, which is kind of confirmed by the Ashen Claws, but the Ashen Claws don't look at them like they're related. They look at them like the neighbor's kids. So nobody really knows if they're actually related to the Raven Guard, of which the Ashen Claws are a successor of. Hell, the title of their chapter master is the Shade Lord, held by Tyberos the Red Wake. His title was once held by an exiled Raven Guard commander, Arcus Fall, during the Great Crusade. Had to re-record that 4 different times. Hell, Corax put this guy in charge of a fleet-based legion before the Drop Site Massacre, so there's a non-zero chance that these theories about them being Raven Guard are actually true. But then you've got their capture of a single World Eaters unit. While in a holding cell, they called this guy Brother, which is fucking wild ultimately. This implies they may be a Chimera chapter with the World Eaters being a part of their gene seed. But then it could just be a sign of respect too, since that is a soldier as well in their chains. Outer Dark has a lot of things like this though. It reveals the vast majority of the information about the Space Sharks, as it is one of the 2 books based on them alone, the other being the one everyone knows, Red Tithe. But what about the Badab War? The war that was fought between various different Space Marine chapters, some of which just wanted power, others thought they were genuinely doing the right thing. On both sides, actually. On the Rebel side, we've got the Astral Claws, who would become the Red Corsairs and have the best war cry, the Lamenters, who really need to have a good day, the Executioners, who still exist apparently, the Mantis Warriors, who are often used as shock troopers, and some others in the mix too. On the Imperium side, we've got Firehawks, Marines Errants, Red Scorpions, Raptors, Salamanders, Fire Angels, Nova Marines, Howling Griffins, Sons of Medusa, Exorcists, Minotaurs, which I'll need to do a video about them too in the future, Star Phantoms, and the Space Sharks, with various others in the mix too. And the Space Sharks were not invited to this fight. They seem to primarily focus on fighting against the Mantis Warriors, destroying planet after planet, leaving no survivors in their wake. Because of this, the High Lord Commander of the Red Scorpions gave them a job of destroying the enemy's source of power, called the Badab Primaris, which is not a dude but a machine. While the Star Phantoms attacked Luft Huron directly. Luft? Loot? How the hell do I pronounce a name with 3 consonants in a row? Although they used to be a fleet based, apparently they've recently been fully accepted back into the Imperium of Man, even being given a homeworld to reign over and get red tithes from. The old world of the Mantis Warriors, Utheka. Wait, what's the red tithe? I hear you not asking because the name gives obvious implications. Well, when they were floating around the edge of the galaxy, the Space Sharks would often drop onto a world and take everyone that didn't fight. If they did fight, the fighter would be executed and forgotten. Some imply eaten too. During these red tithes, boys under a certain age would be forced to go through trials to become Space Sharks, while anyone not in that category would be made into chapter serfs or thralls. I'm not using the word because I know YouTube likes to slap certain words like death. There's also the Grey Tide, which is literally just the Space Sharks playing business with the Mechanicus. Their gene seed has a major gene flaw, where their skin will become extremely pale and their eyes fluid black, similar to the Raven Guard. But they also become hyper aggressive and their skin becomes thick as stone, which is very much not Raven Guard. The Ashen Claws often refer to the Space Sharks as mutts or mongrels, and sometimes even worse. This chapter prefers to utilize hit and run tactics, coming in with heavy firepower to blast in, then move on like nothing happened. They send their scouts and assaults in, calling them Devourers, in with rush tactics, with assault terminators called Red Brethren to follow close behind. Void Brothers, the Battle Brothers, seem to go in and pick up the pieces, usually, but speed is key it seems. The armor of the Space Shark seems to primarily be ancient gear, from the Heresy or before, though some have begun to cross the Rubicon, which I need to talk about that word in the future as well. It's not very common. They still primarily use Firstborn Marines. Even their newer ones tend to be that. They apparently also have some Dreadnoughts, but not a lot. But I should get going, got a book about boats to read. Shove off.